I would ask you about today's science in the world. We are witnessing that science on the West is corrupted, and we now have a COVID pandemic, and science said put mask on and go to the basement and hide. What's the answer from science is ridiculous today. We have 1 year, the same thing they are talking to us. What do you think about today's science? And I would ask you about spirit in the science and Nikola Tesla, who is, I guess, is very, very popular in Russia.
Yes, it's a very long story. My doctorate, my PhD thesis, was dedicated to the evolution of paradigms of the science, and the natural science precisely. That was dedicated to the philosophy of natural science. And according to my understanding, I think that modern science was wrong from the very beginning. When they have cut the relations with Aristotelian vision of the universe, of the cosmos, they have chosen totally wrong path. And I've tried to explain what was wrong. For example, the concept that there could exist material point, and that is basic principle of Galileo Galilei concept of movement. That is the main principle of Newtonian mechanics, is philosophically totally wrong, because either point or material. So point is metaphysical concept. It is something that has no dimension. So in material world, we could not have material point, so that something, some object or objective reality with no dimension, with zero dimension, is something that belongs precisely to the spirit, to the some other universe. And so on with everything is modern in modern science. So I think the situation is not that now we are approaching to the crisis of the modern science as Husserl has thought, Edmund Husserl, but from the very beginning modern science was totally wrong, and the people like Tesla, like the people who have elaborated quantum mechanics or superstrings theory in modern physics, they have discovered this lack of ontological ground in the modern science, and they try to improve, to save, to adjust the science. And for example, Husserl has said there lacks phenomenological basis of the concrete analysis of the consciousness and of the intentionality, and without understanding properly, in a proper way, what intentionality is, we could not create any normal and realistic scientific doctrine and theory. It will be all totally wrong. And Heidegger, when he was appointed as the rector of the Freiburg University, started to make this phenomenological revolution in the science, including in natural science. They didn't let him go further, as they have put all the blame on the very intelligent, genius Nikola Tesla, who was genius because he was closer to the sacred understanding of the reality. He was closer to pre-modern understanding of the reality. He believed in ether and Ethereum and other things, and he has demonstrated that there are totally different laws in the nature, because the concept of the nature in the modernity was limited, was perverted. It was not realistic. It is just just projection of the inner mistakes of the consciousness. So I think that about COVID-19, I think that medicine or modern science in that sense is worse than another. So everything in modern science is wrong except some critical tendency. So I include Tesla. He was poet as well. I like him very much. He was not just physician. He was great poet and with big vision of the things. And that is why his figure is so great and so important. It inspires us still, and the other physicians don't do that in any way. So I think that the modern science should be revised, totally revised. And for example, the people like Benoit Mandelbrot, who has discovered the physics, the geometry of the nature, pointing out that in the nature there is no direct line, or all the direct line are curved line. So we have no two-dimensional surface. Any natural two-dimensionality is three-dimensional. And it is logical to think that any three-dimensional object possesses as well fourth dimension in this geometry of the nature. And that was the beginning of the fractal theory. So the updated, newest theories of the physicians are much better, and they resemble much the universe of Plato or Aristotle, pre-modern understanding of universe. So modernity is absolutely wrong in all senses, and modern science is wrong from the very beginning. Maybe the end of this science is more interesting than the beginning and closer to the reality. There was the John Horgan, interesting author, that has published in the 90s the book that was called The End of the Science. I recommend it, The End of the Science, John Horgan. And he has said that science is over. Western modern science is over, and we need to get out of it. And he has suggested to accept the concept of ironical science. So science is not precise. Science is something rhetoric. So that is much more closer to Aristotelian concept, when we could not approach the science with the same means and same tools as we approach logic or mathematics or geometry. So there are the other rules. Physical law and physical rules are totally different from logical, mathematical and geometrical. So the reality of the existential nature of the physics of the nature, reality is totally different, and we need to find a proper way to study, to deal with that. And for that we need much more poetry than this.
And ethic.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, and one more thing, conspirology and conspiracy theory in today's world.
I have written the book. It is, by the way, translated in Serbian. Conspirology, precisely. But more I study.
You're teaching conspirology, yeah?
I have written the book on that. The book, and more I study conspiracy theories, more I discover they are ridiculous. So this is ironical science. So there are so many things that were said and done openly. We don't need hypothesis of the conspiracy, because everything is done in an open way. it is a kind of open conspiracy. Everybody is said, everybody is written in the manuals of the liberals, of the globalists. Everything is quite open, quite transparent, but we cannot properly understand it. So I think that conspiracy theory are unnecessary, but we need to study better the open sources. So there is something so terrible that is going on in our civilization without any conspiracy, that if we would study that in correct, rational, absolutely with rationality, with a clear, open mind, we could arrive to tremendous results, much more terrifying than conspiracy theory. So we need to put the truth out this marginal atmosphere of conspiracy theory. So after having studied conspiracy theory, I have come to the point that is wrong way. So we could that is a kind of new mythology, and new myth. In any mythology there are many very important metaphysical or ontological elements, but we need to study how to interpret the mythology. So conspiracy theory is the part of modern days mythology, and every myth has its own truth, but it is not on the surface. We need to get deeper into the myth in order to identify the more important ontological or metaphysical nucleus, the kind of the core, or metaphysical core that is hidden or inside of the myth.
Thank you, Professor.